this to be straight to that center, pressing and holding that Alt button or Option if you're on Mac, and then sitting it there. Now that's perfectly aligned to that. And then if I just hit, if I unlock the Gizmo by pressing Alt and then just recenter that to that position, that should in itself indicate that center point. So, but again, so yes, it's going to affect it, but it's going to have that Gizmo swap. I recommend not mirroring in that case. If you're going to mirror to itself, mirror and weld. If you're going to flip it to the other side, then it's a trick to that. And this is why I love mirror and weld so much. If you were to flip this to the other side, so let's put this over here, turn this off on this side, just go ahead and hit mirror and weld, right? Because I want the geometry, I need it on the other side. So this little shortcut, mirror and weld this, turn on symmetry, and then hover over that little thing, turn off symmetry, and then just go ahead and just delete the one you don't want. Delete hidden. Now your Gizmo's on that side. Actually, let me see something real fast. Now that I just like talked myself out of that, what happens if I do this? If I mirror this, maybe there's even a faster shortcut. If I just mirror this, turn on symmetry, boom. I don't know why I did all that. Mic dropped myself. There you go. Just do that. Oh, did the stream go down for a second? Wait, did it just reset? I'm still here. Are you guys here? Can you guys see me? Oh, no. Yep, we can see you now. Okay, great. Okay, so, well, it blooped for like a second. Okay, great. All right, so here we go. Yeah, YouTube kicked me. Oh, damn. Okay. All right, here. So I did this crazy explanation to literally just prove myself wrong. So let's do this. So to the original question, if you're just coming back, the mirror trick. If I mirror it, oh no, my Gizmo's out. Just turn on symmetry and then hover over that, and that should keep me to center. There you go. So just hit mirror, and then turn your symmetry on, show your Gizmo, hover over that little icon that flips it over, and you should be good. There you go. That was even faster. I don't know why I didn't think of that option first. Yeah, we missed that part. Okay, great. So there you go. Hopefully that helped. So there's all the ways, though. The other thing you might have missed is if you needed to reset your Gizmo to center, you could just press and hold Alt, tap, and then point that to one of the vertices down the center line that you need it to be, and then just recenter that, and you should be good to go. So that's the other way. That's the long-winded step that I just did. But for the original question, does this work on the mirror front? The answer is yeah. Just mirror it, turn on symmetry, and you should have your center point there. Turn off symmetry, and you're good to go. So I spoke a lot for no reason. Okay, great. Okay, I did promise to do an eyeball, and I promised to do some shoes. So let's see if we can block out the shoes real quick. We'll continue this. Yes, we'll continue this next week. I think I'm streaming. Yeah, that was the point of vertices. Okay, great. So Darko, I used to actually customize my UI. I don't do it anymore because I teach ZBrush professionally, and it's easier to teach it from the default. I do teach that you can customize your UI, but it's easier to teach somebody from default than it is to try to figure out their custom UI. If you're spending time trying to figure out my UI, you're already doing that with your custom UI. What I always recommend for beginners and even intermediates who have just spent so much time in a custom UI, go back to default for a little bit. Start in default, learn where everything is at, and then make your custom UI. Because what happens, and I suffered from this myself, where I actually had a custom UI almost out the gate, learned everything from custom, and then when I started finding that people were asking me questions and I wanted to get into teaching it, I had a hard time remembering where things were because I was like, well, it's over here, right? And then I just fumbled for like 5 minutes until I found it. So starting from default gives you a great idea of where everything is. And then it improved my performance over time as well. So that's just my little tip. But yeah, so I used to. I did have a custom menu that I would pop up from time to time. But again, I teach ZBrush, so there are hotkeys that, like, every key on the keyboard is pretty much a hotkey. So taking that stuff up is a little, like, it changes the game. So if I wanted to show you what repeat last, pardon me, repeat last was, I can't do that as easily with hotkey shortcuts. I'd have to show you where all that stuff is when I could show you the hotkey function too. Anyway, so long story short, I don't do it anymore. I used to. I'm an animal. Okay, let's get some shoes on. I'm going to take a sip first. A little matcha lemonade and then some water. And we're just going to pump this freaking shoe out real quick. So we're going to do this. So we're going to come over here. I'm going to kind of put this where I think a shoe should be. We're going to get wild here. We're going to come over here. I'm going to actually go to extender. We're going to extend this shoe out. Say something like that. So if you don't know about the Gizmo deformers, these things are awesome. Extender helps extend that shape out. I'm going to go ahead and just accept that. I'm going to just move this in. And then here, I'm going to just start ripping and a tearing. So we're going to come in. We're going to go geometry. We're going to go to DynaMesh. Just go straight into a DynaMesh cut. Come in here, bloop, cut that sucker like that. Kind of replace this. And now we're gonna just kind of reference a older shoe. Give it a little bit of an arch in there. Just move this around. How will you be rounding off the eyes on this guy? That's a great question. Probably going to do it manually. We'll see. Okay, let's do this. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Let's give this a little bit of a kick. Say something like this. There we go. Say something like that. We'll just cut this off. So yeah, rounding his eyes. Let me get the shoe finished. We'll do the eye part. Okay. Yeah, probably going to do it by hand. Probably going to just use the modeler, like what you're saying right now. Yeah. The other approach is to remake the shape and then just use live Boolean and cut it in. But here, yeah, I'm probably just going to manipulate this stuff here. One way you could probably do, we could probably do this actually to get that, to kind of get that rounding happening. We could probably get away with a bridge. You have me thinking about it. So we can come here to here, right? So we could probably just come in and bridge this a little bit. Because there's a little bit of a space here, like there's some shadowing that's happening there, I would color that black. But the thing is, we could probably, I would first try this. Let's see here, bridge, 2 polys. So that's starting to round there. So what I would do, actually, in this case, let's get rid of, come over here. Let's just go ahead, insert, delete those edges at that point. And then this might be one way to do it. It's a little bit of a discrepancy. And I have to come in and then support that, but that could be a way to do it. The other way is just do it manually. Oh, okay, that's what happened. I turned symmetry off. That's what happened here. And actually, probably be a good idea to get rid of those lines right now. Do a ooh, okay. All right, there. Crazy. Okay, so check this out. You guys want to see a trick real fast? So I wanted to get rid of those lines, but I wanted to put my own in there. And doing this now is giving me this kind of boat effect. I can actually just create a mask, go to slice curve, and I can actually slice in my own edge loops where I want them to be. So I can delete this one. I can have something like that. Nope, didn't mean to do that. Okay. What is that one? Polygroup. Okay, great. But yeah, I probably could just also do this. Come in here with the select. Oh my gosh, stop. Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. Yeah, we could just end up starting to round it ourselves. That's one way. Well, you know what else we could probably... So yeah, probably like that. I want to finish the shoes before I think about it too hard, but yeah, those are the ways I'd probably approach it. Yeah, probably. Oh, thanks, Darko. Thank you. Okay. Let's do this real quick. Let's actually get the shoe blocked out, and then we'll do the eyeball. So let's come in here. Boop, boop, boop. I'm just going to go ahead and create... Just going to go ahead and grab a sphere. Let's just come in here. So I'm going to end up... something like this. So I try to keep things simple. For me, I like to just kind of like start dragging shapes in. And get the basic shape in there. I don't like to complicate it too much if I don't have to. Fun fact, sometimes if I think the shoe is similar to another design, and I don't want to make it from scratch, and if I've made a shoe before, I just grab it. Okay, so I want this to kind of be like this. Kind of drop this down a little bit. Now this is where I'll probably keep things separate. And it looks like there's a little bit of a lip here. If I come here, let's take a look at this. So there's something back there, which is pretty cool. So you have the main shoe itself, and then you have... It's almost like a wheel. Not a wheel. Because it's also pretty wide, too. At least that's the interpretation I'm getting from that. So you have the main lip... or the main tongue, shoe itself with some thickness, and looks like a band back that way. Maybe. Could just be a perspective thing. So... because it doesn't look like, whatchamacallit. What are those things that are on the back of cowboy boots? Spurs? It's not like that. Kind of looks like that, but I'm thinking based on this shoe with the width that it could be, that it's similar to like a tube of some sort. So maybe what we end up doing is we use a cylinder pipe here. Kind of crush that down a little bit. We'll go ahead and split this off. Wrong button. Subtool, split on masked points. Okay, and then at this point, turning all this off here, we can come in here, grab this. Again, we're just gonna grab these objects. right here, and we're going to put this and call this shoe. Okie dokie, gotta run. Thank you for the stream, Ian. Have fun sculpting. Thanks, Layla, for stopping by. Okay. Now we're gonna come in here, and we're just gonna go ahead and knife curve this thing off like that. Give me a good starting spot, I think. And here, what I'm going to do is we're going to subdivide a few times, and then I'm going to DynaMesh, just because I want some topology there, and then I'm going to go ahead and DynaMesh that at a lower resolution. Might be a little too low. So let's go 256, which is double of 128. There we go. Do a little bit of a relaxed smooth here. We'll just get the basic shape going. And here, everything's getting in the way again, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna go to V3, turn the shoe on, turn everything off but the shoe. And this is just a way we can come through here. We can also grab this, make this a different poly group, and split that off so we have control over everything. You interpret it as extra cushion above the heel, like running shoes have. Ooh, that's a good thought. Amount of times I do running shoes. Yeah, that's probably. Ooh, you know what? That's probably right. It could just be that loop, like this little bit here, like that loop to slide it on. Why did I subdivide before I DynaMeshed? Great question. So it's a little bit of a habit here, but here's the thing. So coming back to this right here, if I were to hit DynaMesh on this right here, oops, cancel. Go back here, just go back. Okay, great. So it was already DynaMeshed, and I could just have like, it's just gonna go ahead and put the vertices wherever it's at. And for me, like this is just kind of funky. So the thing is that I knew it was super, super low. So I subdivided a few times and deleted it to give me a little bit more resolution and support of the model. So then when I DynaMeshed, like this is the before. So if I were to DynaMesh this, stamp this, come over here, and then I subdivide a few times, delete lower. So not a whole lot of difference, but I think it's habit from a previous version. But the other thing too, what you could do, so I skipped a lot of steps there, but really some of it's habit. But a lot of times if you subdivide, delete, I could have come over here and picked a resolution that would have been ideal to what it is. But I feel like I don't know, you know what? Yeah, I just kind of have it just to support it because I don't have a good answer. It's just what I do. I know that wasn't helpful. Sorry. Yeah, no worries. Anyway. I want to say I feel like that's kind of how it used to work. I don't know where I picked up that habit. It didn't really seem to make a difference at this scale. Maybe it makes a difference at a larger scale, but for some reason I did that. Okay. Don't mind me. Now, I'm going to come in here and dig a hole where the ankle should be, kind of. We're gonna merge some things together eventually. Not the tongue, but the back of the shoe probably. But here, this should be okay. Let's pull that in. Let's pull that in. Yeah, probably. Yeah. It definitely helps sometimes. I'm with you here and you're thinking, okay, thanks. Yeah. Okay, let's come back to here on this guy right here. I'm actually going to kind of shrink this down just a little bit. Give this a little bit more like such right there. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're going to now get the actual, the soul of it. His soul is quite large for everything that it is. So the way I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna recut this again. So I have this. Now I'm gonna duplicate this mesh. Now I'm going to go ahead and just click this bottom part here. I'm gonna turn DynaMesh off. Modified topology, delete hidden. So now I have a separate piece versus the original shoe, right? You can even change the poly group if you want. Now I'm gonna just scale this up so that it's roughly what I want. And again, I'm gonna just center that here. Let's scale that up. Yeah, that should be fine. That might be a little too big, that's okay. You can get a sense of what this looks like. And then now we're just gonna go ahead and give it some thickness. So we're gonna hover over here. We're gonna do over the face. I'm gonna do QMesh. Yeah, we're gonna do that. And now I can bring this up. Get that a little bit bigger. And now we can focus a little bit on some cleanup. Actually, well, before we do that, yeah, let's do this. We can just focus on the cleanup now, actually. There we go. So I'm just using the move infinite so that I know that I'm moving everything together at the same time. Okay. And then we're just gonna do a quick rough sketch. So here, what I mean by that is right here, we look at the shoe, we have some separation here. Anytime I'm sketching something out, a lot of times it's just easier to come in here, grab something like damn standard as an example. And then here, we could just like literally draw out, like look right about here. Okay, so we actually need a little bit more resolution. So let's kick that resolution up. But here we have this kind of main shape that's gonna be there, as well as, if we come back and we take a look, we had like this kind of bit of effect on it. Looks like this is coming back this way. Maybe something like that. So I'm gonna draw that out. So then when I continue this next week, we can actually come in and use these as guidelines for everything else. So we can even use paint for that, but in this case, I think this will be pretty good. We're gonna ZRemesh anyway, so this will just kind of give me the idea. Yeah, should be fine. DynaMesh that. Okay. And then at this point now, open up the subtool menu here. Let's go ahead and go back to 1. So here, just for the sake of having something visual, I'm actually going to just merge all this together. So it's one shoe right now. And then here, I'm going to just move this off to the side a little bit. And then I'm going to hit mirror and weld. Okay, turn on my symmetry. Now I'm going to bring that back in. The reason why I hit mirror and weld on this is because what I wanted to do was actually make sure that they weren't touching. So, because that's going to be a problem if they touch. So this will give me some leg positioning as well. Okay. So we're getting there. It's definitely getting there. And then obviously, like, he has this little teardrop thing over here, and then he has a few other aspects. Let's just add some quick elements to finish the block out. So here we'll call the shoes. I haven't saved in a little bit, I don't think. Here, let's actually just move this up, pull this out. There we go. Call that hands, arms. That way we have everything that we want. Then the other thing we can do is we're just going to add in. So we're just going to add in this ring. It's just a ring around his hand, which is pretty cool. So we're just going to come in here, kind of rotate this around 90 degrees. Come on down. Scale this around. Get this kind of positioned wherever we think it would be. Say something like this. I'm gonna actually control shrink that just a little bit. Okay. The hands front. Move this up, say something like that. All right, so let's just go ahead and mirror and weld this one. Okay, so we have that in place, and then what we'll do here is we just need like a little teardrop thing. So we'll save this. Now here's the cool part, we can just do this. So I'm actually gonna just go ahead and do balloon mesh. I'm gonna start to drag on a space, because if I drag on a space, it's gonna give me a shape like this, right? So I'm gonna turn off symmetry for a second. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start dragging this kind of teardrop like this. Then I'm gonna press and hold the space bar. I'm gonna throw that up over there so it looks like that. And then we're gonna split. Split on masked. Click this guy right here. We're gonna place that right there. And then we're gonna clean this up a little bit. So let's go to geometry. Let's go to DynaMesh. See what happens when we turn on DynaMesh. Kind of clean that up a little bit. Kind of round that just like such. All right. All right, we got that in there. Little teardrop shape. Little ink blot, maybe we'll call that. So we'll call this, we'll go rename. Call it ink splash. Splash. Little off topic. Failed to locate the diffuse and normal maps. This may lead to unforeseeable consequences. ZBrush version process. Have you ever gotten that alert from Character Creator 4? I have not gotten that alert from Character Creator 4. I'd have to play with it and see. Yeah, I'd have to play with it and see. I don't have a lot of experience in Character Creator 4. I did some beta testing for it a little while ago when they had the thing sent over, but yeah, I'm not 100% certain. So what I would say is try to make sure that the Go Z is locating correctly. Reset your Go Z. Come over here to Go Z and maybe reinstall the paths that you need. The Go Z for CC4 was implemented on their side, so it could be a miscommunication between CC4 and ZBrush, but on CC4's side. I would have to take a look at your project to know for certain, but Yeah, that would be my assumption. Maybe try to re-engage the GoZ application. So you can reinstall your patch, you can clear that, reinstall it, and see if that helps you out. It could just be a communication. It could also be looking at an older version of ZBrush. So maybe when it was set up in a way that's looking at the older version. But again, I'm speculating. I don't 100% know. I would have to take a look at it. Okay. So this is where we're going to stop on him today. We got a simple block out going on, nothing too crazy complex. Looks like there's a little bit, actually. One more thing we'll do here real fast. Changed my mind already, but I noticed something right now, and I won't be satisfied unless I do it like this. We'll take a Q cube real quick. I'm going to tap right here on the actual arm. I'm going to go ahead and just drag this out. And we're going to set this in here. We're going to go to local symmetry. All right, because it's symmetrical to the actual subtool. And we're going to just go ahead and put this in like such. Looks like we have a little bit something like that for the elbow. A lot thinner, obviously. And it looks like it's connected more to the bottom. So it looks like it's more like this. Sorry, that's the top. Something like that. So we have something like that going on, which we can tweak that a little bit later. But we got the basics of a block out done. Again, I think I'm going to paint the mask or the face on. I don't think it's going to be an actual face. I would say that would actually be a texture. That's how I'm reading that. That's the direction I want to take with that. I think that'd be cute. So, but for now, we'll pause this because I do want to get to building the eye, how I start building an eye, and then we'll call the stream for a day. So now that I got this, hold on a second. All right. It's a new GoZ Plus feature. GoZ hasn't changed for ZBrush at all. So it's anything that's added to GoZ would happen to be on their side. Like GoZ, the SDK is available for anybody to use on their side. That's why that was my speculation on that. But yeah, I'm not sure. I don't play enough with CC4, Wes. I wish I could help you out a little bit more. You know who might actually, Michael Pavlovich might actually be somebody to, if you want to check this out, I could point you to this. I think he has a whole series on it. If you hadn't looked up, I know he's been playing with it a lot more. So let me see something. If I go to Mike Pav CC4. Yeah, here you go. Okay, yeah, here you go. I'll share this playlist. Maybe this will be helpful. It's a whole playlist, so the first video is like really short, but that might be something for you as well. All right, cool. It does, but it doesn't address this issue. Yeah, so I'm not sure then. I mean, on the ZBrush side, you can always reach out to support. This is something that, again, one of the reasons why you're paying for ZBrush is the support side. Also, too, what version of ZBrush are you actually using? Because I don't know how far back the CC4 actually... I don't know how far the plugin for CC4, how far back it goes in support of older versions of ZBrush, because things change. So check that too. If you're running in 2022, it might be different than if you're running in 2024. But I don't know. Again, that's speculation on that. But you can always reach out to support on our side with somebody a little bit more technical. And then I would say reach out to support on their side as well if we can't help you on our side. Latest versions of both? Okay, cool. Cool. Well, hopefully it's an issue that somebody can help solve a little bit sooner, man. Wish I could be more help. Believe you me. I'm sitting here thinking I should probably learn CC4 now. Okay, so let's go into the eyeball front, and then we'll call it a day. All right, so here's the cool part about eyes. So hopefully, I forget who asked it. Also, hey, Kate Wen, I just saw your name pop up a little while ago, but hello. So for eyes itself, and hopefully this person's still here, here's the cool part about eyes. So earlier I mentioned about, you know, being able to take an IMM brush, say something like this, have the gizmo and start switching, right? So I might have mentioned this. Also wanted to ask what you're using for reference, like what program. Actually, I'm using Spotlight within ZBrush. So if you wanted to bring in an image, so here is this one, so I'll just go ahead and close this out. So you come in here and you load a texture, so import a texture. And as soon as you have that texture loaded up, so come in here, hold on, what am I, there we go, okay. So come in here, you can, oh, okay. So you can import yourself a texture, which I have it off over here on this side. And you can find whatever texture that was. Once you load that in, you actually end up getting this guy. What's going on? Hold on. What did I do? I hit a button. What the heck? Okay, let's clear this out. Switch. Let's clear that out. No big deal. Let's just go ahead and drag this back out. Boom. Okay, great. Yes. Turn me on. Oh, wait. Hold on. Hold on. Ah, there we go. Okay. Because I had an IMM brush, it actually grays out my ability to load in a texture. I'm not quite sure if that's on purpose or not. So there we go. So move brush. All right, we got a standard brush. Once you import that in, then you can come here and you can click your actual, you can click your image that you have, and then you can say plus add to Spotlight. That adds us the Spotlight. And at this point, Spotlight was originally created to actually transfer texture information on over, like painting and physical texturing on over to your model. But now you can just actually drag your stuff over here and just place it, and then hit Z again, and that hides that control panel. Z brings it back up. Shift Z hides it all together. Shift Z brings it back. And then Z again for that control panel. So that's what I'm using. If I'm not using Spotlight, I typically use Pure Ref. But here, this is for one single image as being my only reference. That's usually what I do when I'm matching concept, is I only have my one image and I go off of it as much as I can. And then I change to whatever I'm looking for. But here, yeah, it's just Spotlight. So I can then hide that whenever I want. Great question. Okay, so now we have this eyeball here. So we're gonna have this centered. I'm gonna hit IMM brush. And what I like to do is Sphere 32. This is what's really cool about this. Sphere 32, I'm gonna click this. I'm gonna hit F. And what I like about this is that it has a nice pole that's facing forward that I'm gonna use for my actual eye itself. So here, I'm gonna come in and just recenter that back to the world. So I have this, and we can scale this up if we would like. But now what's cool about starting eyes is that I can actually come in here, and I'm just going to go to clip curve, and I'm going to clip this down. So it's something like this, okay? And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to use Z Modeler, so BZM, and I'm going to come in and actually put some temporary polygroups. Say something like this. All right, so this way I can select this, mask it off. And the reason why I can do that is then I can kind of flatten that out. All right. And then here, make it all one more poly group. Again, we're just going to do a temporary, say something like this. Mask this off. You can even soften it a bit if you would like. I'm not going to here. We're just going to push this in just a little bit like that. Because eyes actually, again, your iris and stuff, the way eyes are, and this is where reference is going to come in really clutch. Eyes in itself, okay, we have your main two things to look at for an eye for sculpting. You have the lens itself that goes over the eyeball, and then you have the actual iris and pupil and stuff that's inside. So I look at it in two parts like that. So we have this first one here. I'm going to duplicate this now at this point. And I'm going to come back here to this first one. I'm going to Control Z back to something like this point here. Okay. So, and what's important to remember here now is I want this shape right here. This is the shape that I'm going to want for the actual lens itself. So I'm going to duplicate this one. So if we solo this, I have this inner eye that I'm working with, and then I have this outer eye here, okay? And then I'm going to move the first one. So these two things I'm now going to weld together. And again, we can actually adjust this. We can actually kind of blow this up a little bit. We can reshape it. The important thing is to allow the eye on the inside to be, you know, so that this does look like it's kind of wrapping around. And we're just going to go ahead and merge down. It's going to merge down on this. Okay. So now I have this right here. Now this is the cool part. Here's a feature that I haven't used yet today, which is, of course, Remesh by Union. Just going to help stitch this together and give me one piece. If I wanted to, I can subdivide a few times, and there is a reason for this. So here you can see that if I were to do Remesh by Union, so you can see that it's trying its best to stitch all of this together. The problem with this is that it has to really reach for each and every single one of these vertices, and that's not going to, it's not really going to do well for what I want. So if I subdivide a few times and then I go ahead and delete lower, now my stitching is going to be a lot more tight. And so here what I can do now is come back in, Remesh by Union, and you can see here that this actually is a lot better, okay? And because of that, now I'm just making this shape to do what I wanted to do. I can come through here real fast as well if I needed to, and I can actually just do a little bit of some Sculptris rebuilding so that that stitching is now super, like right where I want it to be. And now I want the top and the bottom to be the same. I want to support the structure of this actual mesh itself. So this is where we're going to come up to transform. And a lot of this is just practice. I'm actually just regurgitating things that I've been working on. But here I'm going to turn on the y-axis as well. Okay, not the Z, because I don't want this in the back. I just want this shape here. This will be my lens. So I'm going to have X and Y together. And now I'm going to just go ahead and ZRemesh. So all we really did was just create the basic shape with two objects, stitch them together. And now I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what, let's just turn adaptive size will turn on, but we'll keep the adaptive size down to 0, or at least 1, between 1 and 0, because we want the quads to be as even as possible. And keep groups, but take that down to 0 because it kind of smooths it out a little bit. Hit ZRemesh. And now you can see I'm getting that nice round shape. And we're just going to ZRemesh a few times. This will give me this kind of lens effect right here. So if I smooth that out, now I don't have a pole in the middle, so I don't have any weird divots that I don't need. And now what I can do here is I can just kind of scale that up, turn my transparency on, and just make sure that that's kind of hovering over that shell. So now I have a lens. So I'll call this, you know, so we can duplicate this one more time, hide this top part, call this one lens. And then underneath, we'll call this one, we'll just call this eye. So now I have this guy right here. Yeah, not a problem. And then from here, now we're just going to start the sculpting process. Now, if you want the pupil to, or if you want the pupil at this point, you get to decide how big or small you want that pupil, because this is the main eye itself here. So pupils, they're muscles, so they open and they close. So it doesn't really matter how big or small you start with it, as long as you're comfortable with that. But here, we're just going to add in a little bit of resolution. So add in just a little bit like this, and maybe one in there. I'm going to just subdivide a few times. Oh, no, sorry, I skipped a step. Sorry. I'm going to add that resolution, but then here I'm going to create that pupil. So I'm going to push this in. I'm going to push this in pretty deep. I like to go pretty far in there. And then I'm going to add in this, and then I'm going to add in this. And the reason for this is now we have that hole right there, okay? And so when the deeper that hole is, when I hit render, it's going to produce a shadow. And so, of course, when this is like baked in a head and stuff like that, and if you paint that true black, it's going to look like it's going invisible here. So if I were to come in here and paint this 100% black, so if I paint this eye white, flip over, and this is why you never paint true black unless you are absolutely, unless you're absolutely trying to hide shadows. Like true black hides shadows. So, and here's a fun fact. Go back up to transform, turn on symmetry, turn on radial symmetry. Whoops, hit too much on there. So, Z, radial symmetry, which we're going to be using a lot. You can paint this. So now look at this. Come in there and kind of smooth that. So now, look, when I hit render, I can't see any of the shadows. That's just dark. That's just black. So, which is perfect. So that's the where we're going to go on that. Now we're going to subdivide a few times, get some resolution. Now this is where eyes become the most unique thing on the planet. And I had a few friends actually. I've even had my eyes like scanned because of my glasses and stuff like that. My eyes actually, fun fact about me, my eyes are fine, but the muscles underneath, they get tired really quickly. So it's almost like a form of muscle deterioration. So here we type in human eyes as the example of what we're going for today. And we just take a look at images. Man, you get some cool stuff really quickly. But you can see here, there's a lot of, it looks like just a crazy crater of stuff, right? You have that lens on the outside, but then you have this massive like crater moon looking thing, which can be so freaking cool. So this is where, and everybody's different. Like this eye looks nothing like this eye. Okay, guess I didn't want to click it. This eye doesn't look anything like this eye. I don't even know what's going. No, that's not true. Okay, boom, and they like so they're all similar, but they're all different. And this is where eyes are just so crazy unique. So this is where you get to have fun with it. So now what you get to do is you get to, and this is where I recommend you kind of come up here and you subdivide a few times, and you get some resolution, right? So we'll start with 250. So that's quite tight. All right. And then we're going to turn that radial symmetry back on. And so here, radial symmetry, you can do like 12 or 16. But then take something like the clay buildup, right? This might be a little too high of the resolution here. Everything is super tight, so we're going to step that down. Oh, do I have dynamic turned on? Hold on one second. I could have dynamic subdiv turned on. I do. That's what it is. Okay, if you got dynamic subdiv turned on and subdivisions, that's no good. All right, there we go. Okay, so this is where you get to kind of come in here and start kind of creating that look that you want. And then you could take like damn standard. You can start really like coming through here. Take your intensity down because you don't need it that crazy. And start kind of making your shapes a little bit. And this is where you can just start having fun and use reference, lots of reference. So I like to do this in a few different steps. And the more resolution you have, like here we're working at like 4 million now. You just start creating. And you can already see that we're starting to get some of the shapes that we want. And then here you can actually use just simple masking. So like referencing this eye real quick, right? So you actually have like some cratering or something, like there's like some steps and then there's some holes and stuff with that. So what we can do, we can come in here using radial symmetry. This is where you can get super creative. I'm keeping it symmetrical for now. But here, and then you can just start, again, you can start cutting in a little bit. And then maybe we unmask a little bit more. Right, and then maybe we build up a little bit. Just start making your shapes. You come in here, start making these little crevices. I would start breaking up symmetry at some point in time too. Like at some point you get like the main shapes that you want, but then you end up like breaking symmetry a little bit as well. But just in a few minutes, we can start getting something that's looking pretty cool. And you can get that shape that you're looking for, right? And here, let's just finesse it just a teeny bit. Like turn off symmetry as well. Again, open up that resolution. Start refining some of this stuff. Or you can also too increase or decrease the radial. If you wanted some more. And it depends on how detailed you want to get. If you're going like really tight with like some eye shots and stuff like that, then I've seen it too where like, and I've done this as well, where you actually take like separate pieces of clay and then like you actually add those muscles in and stuff like that. And then here again, turn off symmetry at some point, maybe come back in, maybe fill up a couple of these things, maybe make a few of them a little bit bigger. Like make it interesting, right? Maybe this one we get closed down a little bit. This one gets closed down a little bit. You definitely want to just like, yeah, make it super interesting. Step down on your resolution a little bit. There we go. Just kind of smooth some of the stuff up. You can step between. This is why I love subdivisions, because stepping between. And then you can step back up. You can really kick in some of these cool details. All right, and you can start going nuts. The thing to remember is everything comes into the center of the pupil. The whole purpose of this detail is to actually have the appearance that the muscles are pulling or contracting, you know, those muscles. And you can get as insane with this as possible. Okay, and then you're like, okay, great. Well, what if I want a demon eye? Like, I made a human eye. What if I want a demon eye? That's totally cool. Just duplicate this eye. Turn on normal symmetry. Gonna just hit solo for a second. Gonna hit the move brush. You can start shaping. You can have like a demon's eye. You can duplicate this. You can do a goat's eye if you want. So we can actually turn symmetry on. Whoa, don't do that. Come here. Well, actually, sorry, goat's eyes are this way, if I remember right. Because they're weird. Actually, some of my favorite eyes are goat's eyes. Again, so whatever you want, now you have different eye shapes. Easy enough. And then we can just start painting it. So, of course, take your time with this as well. But let's come back over here. Let's turn symmetry back on. And then let's start painting. So let's make this true black here. Let's switch over. We already have white. This is where you can get a little fancy. If you want some ZBrush stuff, you can add like, not plastic, that's Redshift. We can use, where are we at? Toy plastic, which is done in ZBrush here. And then you can actually start painting like Here, this is what I would recommend. You do like a blood, like a, yeah, kind of like that off in the back. That was a little aggressive. So start with a lower intensity. Kind of fade that off. Eyes aren't perfectly white. They have a little bit of this like kind of bloodshot tone to them. All right, paint that back a little bit, feed that in. So you can get some of that stuff there. And then as far as color goes, again, you know, whatever. Let's go with blue. All right, you can start painting your eyes. Again, look at reference. I'm going a little quick here. So kind of a darker color here on the outsides. A lot of eyes have that kind of dark kind of ring to them. Use C to reference your other eyes and stuff here. And then if you wanted to add veins really quickly, you can actually just use the standard brush with the spray and alpha 60. And then here, so look, you can destroy it. So what you can do is actually add a little intensity, a little bit of RGB. Come back over. Maybe a lot of RGB and very low intensity. You can get, and actually this is where I would turn radial symmetry off. These veins are also just, they're not symmetrical. Once you get that little effect going on. And you can actually change the color too, if you want like a little bit of a green. But yeah, so then you have that. And then you just, again, you just kind of come through it all. Turn your radial on. Kind of paint this in. So yeah, and then you just start refining and detailing. So hopefully this was helpful. And again, you have all these different eyes. I actually recommend, like, you know, having fun with it. But then here again, if you had the lens, if you had redshift, this lens right here could be glass. So you say, yeah. We're going to try this real quick because I haven't done it in the stream for a little bit. The best way to end the stream is to potentially have fun. So we're going to come here to render. And now I'm going to come in here to redshift render. Just going to turn that on. Floor render. We'll just go ahead and turn on a shadow catcher real quick, fast and in a hurry. I'll actually do this where I'm going to go ahead and say, check this out. We're going to go, only got a couple minutes. So we're going to go to Lightbox. We're going to go to Texture. We're going to go ahead and get an HDR. So under Panoramas, under Texture are these HDR files that are actually EXR files. So that means they're really good. My favorite one is off over here. Bottom right side. Double click that until it happens. You can see here it is. And then I can actually come on up to light now. Dock this on this side. I'm gonna actually turn this light way down. I just want the HDR. If I go to the background, turn off that background. Okay, we'll come to the eye itself real quick. Hit solo. I don't want this to be glass because that's gonna be crazy. So the lens itself, just go to material, fill that material, come over here to this one, and we'll say this could be a plastic. Go ahead and color fill that plastic. So now we have this. I'm gonna go ahead and just hit Control R, do a render region. It's gonna check to see if my redshift is installed. Should be. If I get choppy, I apologize. The Irisauron. I have never seen such a creative way to do eyes. Oh, awesome. I'm glad you like it. Okay, cool. So there we go. So now I'm just going to hit full Shift R. The render region was actually Control R. Renders just a certain spot. But there you go. So now you have an eye inside of ZBrush, and you can see it's rendered with redshift. So here, if I were to look at it from this side, and you just adjust and you have fun with it. So anyway, hopefully that works out well for you guys. But there you go. And then you can have fun. That being said, let's just render here the big eye. And yeah, and obviously I would spend a lot more time cleaning this up, the transition of the paint, all that stuff. But there you go, and you can see all the glass effect with the HDR. Super fun stuff. All right. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with me. It's been such an awesome time. I really enjoyed hanging out with everyone. So again, if you guys would like, check in the description below because we had this concept up. It's by DaCosta Bailey. So really awesome artist. Definitely check him out. We got the blackout started with a fun touch of little tips and tricks on the way. So definitely go give him a follow, give him a shout. We'll continue this next week. And then after that, I stream next week, and then after that, I'm gone for 2 weeks because I'm actually going to be at AMI, which is American Medical Illustration Conference, and then I'll be at SIGGRAPH in Denver. So if you're going to be at SIGGRAPH, definitely come over, say hi, be at the Maxon booth. We might have a couple surprises for you there to come check out and see. No promises, but we might have something, so just saying. Anyway, that being said, all right, guys, that's going to be it. If you're just tuning in, my name is Ian Robinson, Master ZBrush Trainer, Community Manager here at Maxon, and we always try to make learning ZBrush as fun as possible, and we will see you all next week. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, 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 bye.